So tonight we have an author on from She Publishing LLC, which is in based in Chicago, with Shanitha Burton. And Shanitha, well, She Publishing is also one of the sponsors of the National Black Book Festival and has been for the last few years. And Shanitha is uh, was under the weather last time I spoke to her, so I'm hoping that she's doing better now. So we have the author that we have is Lashonder Demery, and I think I pronounced her name correctly, but if I didn't, she can correct me. And we welcome her to Black Authors Matter TV. We need to unmute.
Hey,
Okay. All right. Now I'm just now hearing your voice. So
how are you? How are you? Hi.
doing great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just glad to be here.
Okay. Now, do you have, is your, I know you said your book is going to be released, but do you have a proof of it or anything that you can show yet?
Yes,
Proof copy.
actually, um, by the way, I'm Lashonder Demery. I think you said that before. You did pronounce my name correctly.
Okay.
And yes, so I'm currently doing a second edition of my book. The first edition has been released.
Okay. All right. So you're doing the second edition. So you're updating the book that you originally did. Is that what it is?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we have updated it.
Okay. So can you show us the either the original one or do you have your book handy?
I do not
Okay.
have my book.
We'd like to show people the book just because if they're going
I
to,
could go and grab a book if you would like
how
for me
far
to.
away is it
It's
like?
not that far
Okay.
away.
All right. Well, yeah, so we can see the cover because we want
Okay,
people to know what it looks like.
just give me 1 second here.
Okay, we will do. And in the meantime, I want to tell people about the Black Authors Matter. Are you on the Black Authors tonight? Well, yes, we are. Someone asked that. That's what this is. If you're watching Myra Cook, this is what this is. So anyway, okay, because I saw that your book online on Amazon, I believe. No, it was on She Publishing LLC's website.
Hmm?
And it's called, hold it up one more time, Tears of a Lost.
Here's a lost soul.
And is it a memoir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, our first guest had a memoir and you have a memoir. And
Hmm.
um now is this your first book or your only
Yes,
book or you're
ma'am.
doing an updated version of it?
Hmm.
Was your first edition through She Publishing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so they're kind of re-releasing the book
Yes, ma'am.
for you under their umbrella.
Yes.
And so uh was that a picture of you on the cover? The show the cover one more time. I want to
No, ma'am. This
is
cover
that you?
was created from
Oh,
a
okay. So that
vision.
little girl, that's not you.
No, ma'am.
Okay. What about the person on the porch?
That's not me.
Okay. All right. I'm just asking questions that the audience will probably want to
Mhm.
know.
Yes, ma'am.
So why did you name the book the way you did?
Well, I think originally when I was thinking of a name, when you get ready to write a book, of course you got to name the book. So I was wanted the audience first. I wanted to express my tears that were lost, the tears, my unheard tears, my unheard cries, and so not just my own, but I gave the opportunity to a couple of my family members to release theirs as well. And so when you're reading our stories, you're able to release, you're able to put yourself in a vulnerable place to be heard. And I think we all have that. So when you're reading Tears of a Lost Soul, you will encounter pain, but you also encounter healing. So Tears of a Lost Soul, it was just like something, it just hit me one day. Um, and I wanted my voice to be heard. And
Okay.
so
So where does the book begin in terms of how the age you were when the story starts.
Well, the book begins from when I was a baby girl. Um,
Okay.
but when you originally open the book, you will see a few testimonials, which is my daughter and my granddaughters and my son that's my living son. And then the book begins after them. Then the book begins with me, and it starts from when I was a little girl.
Okay. And were there some crucibles in your childhood that you feel like, well, that you shared to sort of set the stage for the story?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So, without giving away too much of the book, what's some of the things that you encountered that you want people to know that you brought forth in the book?
Well, being abandoned by my mother and growing up with abandonment issues, with mommy issues, being alone, being left alone, um, being raised by the streets. So a number of things like that. Then my mother was 12 years old when she was pregnant with me. So she had me at the age of 13. So she was a child herself. And so it does not only the downside of it's a downside, it's an upside, but it's realistic. And I guess the content, it gives you freedom to express yourself. It gives us freedom to actually tell our stories. So very, very vulnerable book, transparent book.
Hmm. Yeah, 13 is young to have a child.
Hmm.
That's you really are a kid. Just, thinking back on me being 13, um, trying to be a mother at 13, you know, back in the earlier parts of the 1900, people would sometimes even get married at 13 and 14. I know I had some aunts who I think they got married at 15, and it was rural areas that did that. But that was different because a lot of times those communities were tight knit, and the people that they ended up marrying were people they grew up with. So it wasn't. It was kind of expected in a way because by the time they were 15 back then, they were really able to take care of a home, which is what the parameter was regarding it. But in a more modern era, having a child at 13, it normally would mean that there's some sort of abuse or something, that led to the pregnancy. Um, or just a mistake, a useful mistake that when you're young, you don't really understand the relationship between, you don't understand a lot of things. That's when you're that young. It's a lot you don't know. And so, did your with just giving some information for the viewers about just what's in the book. Did did your grandmother raise you, or an aunt, or were you
Yes,
raised?
yes. My
Okay.
grandmother raised me and my mom. And then
Mm.
at some point, my great grandmother finished raising me.
Okay.
Yeah, before I got into the drugs, she was raising me when all of that took place, my great grandmother. So
Okay.
I went from one home, I went from my grandmother's home to my mother's home. And of course, things didn't work out there. And then I ended up with my great grandmother.
Okay. Yeah, those some of those grandmothers and great grandmothers um often have to step in. My husband was raised by his great grandmother. So, and our daughter is named after her. So, but and there were a lot of siblings in his situation. So his mother just couldn't take care of them all. And so they kind of ended up at different places. But they were all with family members, either grandma, he was with the great grandma, and then his mother too. But people do what they have to do. It's amazing. People, they figure out how to make situations work. They don't always work that well, you know. And a lot of times there's some things that are missing, you know,
Right.
in that scenario. So um you grew up fast. I think you said that yourself,
Yeah.
just from the situation. So um how did you end up coming to a position where you said, this is not for me? The streets are not, that's not where I want to be ultimately. Was it one thing, or was it a series of things, or did you have a mentor or a counselor? Or how did you make that change? Or
I didn't have a
was just a
mentor.
series of life just taught you some things and you made a decision?
Yeah, I think when I was arrested and I went to prison, um, yeah, I was arrested. So with me, I had a series of nervous breakdowns after losing my children. And I was just beat down. I had come to a place where I really, I was out of my mind. And so it was really rough. It was hard. And so one day I was arrested. I had been arrested several times, but this very last time that I was arrested, I got incarcerated. I got 15 years for that. So I was incarcerated a lot longer than the times before. And at that point, and when you asked me the question, like, what happened, right? So it was just a series. I lost my children. That well, I lost my mother, I lost my children. I gave birth to twin boys and a little girl. And in the midst of trying to raise them, I lost them. And so just loss after loss, blow after blow, blow after blow, it beat me down mentally, emotionally, physically. I was like wearing a size one. I was really, really thin. I had got really, really dark skinned. And yeah, so I lost myself completely. And so that day when I was arrested, it saved my life. It saved my life. And during that time of incarceration, I began to feel hope again. And so that's kind of what happened. Just loss after loss after loss, and somehow lost myself, doing everything. So that's what brought me back to life. The arrest, because I didn't surrender, like turn myself in or give. I had gave up physically, mentally. I had lost humanity. Like, people, I wasn't living anymore. I was just existing.
Mhm.
And so, but I didn't, nothing happened like I turned myself in or I went and got help or nothing like that. I was actually arrested by mistake. And so after that happened, and I tell about that, how I got arrested in the book. But so when I got arrested, that's what happened.
Okay, now when you say you lost your children, did they pass away or did you lose them to the system?
Well, the first time I lost them to the system, and the second time I lost a son. One of my sons murdered the other one.
Oh gosh, that's a
Yeah,
lot,
so yeah, it's a lot.
lot.
Um, so when I lost them one time, I lost them a second time. So I lost one,
Mhm.
I lost them to the state, and then the second time I lost one to life in prison and the other one to death.
And they were twins. Did you say
Yes.
they were twins?
Hmm.
Boy, how old were they when this happened?
29 years old.
Oh gosh. Well, She Publishing, which I'm thinking this is Shanitha making a comment. She said, "You're very courageous to share a story like this one. And she says, I am so very proud of you sharing your story. Yeah, Shanitha, she has a way of getting people to tell their experiences, to share them. Um, and she's done that many times with different authors. Where she also works with people on fiction and other types of books, but she that's I think that's her gift, is getting people to share their stories,
Yeah,
and some of them are extremely challenging stories,
yeah,
because your situation sound it's a lot of it takes a lot of courage and resilience to be able to go through all of that and still be able to function, you know.
yeah,
So I can't imagine it. I've been through some different things, not anything like that. A lot of the stuff I've been through is related to having the passion to be in business. And I tell people, like, and I haven't had a boss since I was 25, at all. I've been self-employed, but I have seen a whole lot, just being able to survive that without, and still make a decent living, and, and live. So, but I've always had love from, you know, having people who love you is important. That helps to see you through. Now, with your great grandmother, um, how long did she live, and do you still have your grandmother in your life? Um, how about your family connections?
well, my great grandmother, she passed away when I was in my addiction. And both of them, my great grandmother and my grandmother and my mother, all of them passed away when I was in my addiction. When I was suffering from mental health issues, and everything. So they are gone. And so at this point, I I'm a mom now, I'm a mother now, I'm a grandmother now. And so I do have grandchildren, and I have my daughter, and I also have my son. He's incarcerated, but I still have him. And so I have a large family, but we don't see each other as much or nothing, but we know we're family. So pretty much I would say I have a good relationship with my family, with my grandchildren and my daughter, my immediate family. Yes.
Right. So, do you live in Chicago area?
No, I live in Houston, Texas.
Oh, you know what? I looked on that. I looked at that. I forgot before the show. I looked on it when your information. I said, "Wow, she's in Houston." So that's where I am. So yeah, the show. This is where the show is broadcast, so to speak, from Houston. And so you're on Kerr Street, which is what part of Houston? North, south, east, or west, or
This is Northeast Houston.
northeast Houston? Okay, because I'm the on the northwest. I'm not FM 1960 area.
Okay.
Yeah. So are you from Houston originally?
No, no, ma'am. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Okay. All right. And then did your whole family relocate to Texas, or just you?
Just me.
Okay. All right.
Just me. Well, my daughter lives here now, and I do have family here in Houston, but my immediate family, they're still in Shreveport, Louisiana. You know, like your uncles and
Yeah.
aunts,
Yeah, your
stuff like
extended
that.
family.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have one uncle that lives here, and I have a host of cousins that live here in Houston. But I did move. I came here alone, and I just started a new life after I was released from prison.
Okay. So you were in prison in Louisiana? Is that where you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, Shanitha says she met you at our event,
Hmm.
and he at the National Black Book Festival. That's amazing how that ended up happening.
Yes, it
But
is.
but that happens every year when people come to our event. Some of them are not published. They're aspiring authors, or they just have a story they want to tell. And we always have several publishers at our event, and they're able to make connections and see. I don't know about what transpired until, like, later on like this. Like I don't I don't hear about it when it's happening, but I know it happens because the fruit of it ends up manifesting like it has in your situation later on. That's when then we find out about it. So so your book was already published when you met uh Shanitha.
Yeah, it was already published when I met her, but I'm gonna tell you, it was explosive when I met her, and it was just a moment in time. It was very divine. Uh, when I met her and I had questions, she had answers, she had directions, she had instructions. She made me feel so welcome, and my heart was just warmed by her presence. And she's been there for me ever since. And they are my new family, the She family, and I'm just grateful. I heard you say a few things about her as well, but this 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 is a remarkable time in my life to have my book second edition, my book being ran by the She Publishing Company, and they are very dedicated to what they do, and I'm actually getting the publishing experience with them, and it is amazing. It really is amazing. It makes it a lot easier, and they are so dedicated. She is truly dedicated.
She is, and um I can't remember exactly. Shanitha probably can. I meet so many people that I can't always remember exactly where I connected with somebody because I know so many people. But once we connected, it was a very strong connection, and it took off from there. And there hasn't been any looking back since then. I don't, but she's very easy to know. She has no pretense or airs, or she's not stuck up or arrogant or any of that. No pretensions or any of that. She's just totally open and friendly to everybody. And there are people that have stories to tell. They need someone like her, and She Publishing. Um, Not everybody is going to go through the process with trying to get published with an agent and go that route because some books are not really for that kind of market. It's really for people who want to tell their story, they want to get exposure, and they need more hands-on help.
Hmm.
And so that's one of the roles that the smaller publishers that we connect with play. We are connected with She Publishing, and then there's BK Royston Publishing out of Indiana, and then Black Odyssey Media is based in Dallas, and we have their authors on as well. So, what do you, when your book is slated to come out soon next month, the second edition?
Yes.
So, do you have a book tour planned, or book signings, or a book launch? What do you have? What are you planning to do?
Well, I Shanita is gonna plan everything.
That's always helpful to
Gonna,
have somebody else
yeah, she's
plan.
gonna plan
You can just
everything.
show up.
I do a lot. She's gonna plan everything, but I believe my book will be released probably the first or second week of March. The second edition will be released, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that like never before. And so I was able to slow down and really get into how this process really works. And so I'm just excited. I'm just excited. And I want my book to touch the hearts of the people and heal some people, because if God did it for me, he can do it for you. He can do it for them. Uh, he can do it. It can be done. I'm living
Yeah,
proof of that.
from what you experienced, just what you talked about, and the fact that you're still able to talk to us with a smile on your face is a testament to this inner strength and faith and all of that resilience. But you have to believe in something bigger than yourself a lot of times when you go through these kinds of things. And so, In our final minute or two, let tell us what you want people to gain, that major message you want them to gain from reading your book, and then show your book cover again for one final time.
Okay, I can show it again. My
Okay,
book
Tears
cover,
of a Lost Soul.
Tears of a Lost Soul. And so my book is gonna reach several audiences, people who have dealt with rape, abuse, abandonment, adoption, domestic violence, and substance abuse. So it hits different areas. Um, it's reaching a larger audience than just one, just men. I mean, just women, but men as well. So yeah, if I were to say something to the audience, I, I think our family went through a lot. If it could just, if the book could just get somebody to halt and stop and realize that, the direction you're going, it's not going to end up anywhere. It's just a testament to, recovery is possible, and so we do recover no matter what it is, we do recover. And so, in spite of what we're going through or what we've been through, recovery is possible. And you can still meet your goals, you can still live your dreams, you can still be happy, and so, especially with women or men who suffer from mental health issues, that is big for me. Um, because at one point I didn't even know who I was. So it's possible to recover. So I just want to tell the world that recovery is possible, and I'm hoping my story touched many lives.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Lashonda, for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV. And hopefully, I'll run into you. Make sure you come to this year's festival in October, so we can meet face to face. We may have met at last year's, but I worked the whole time, so I don't. I see so many people I don't remember them all. So anyway, thank you so much for being a guest on the show, and God bless you for telling your story and for overcoming all the challenges that you had.
Well, thank you. So, do you like to be called Gwen or Miss Richardson?
No, Gwen, please, Gwen.
Gwen, okay, because I never got a chance to say hello, Gwen. I
Oh,
always
okay.
jump
Okay. Now
into it.
Gwen is fine.
Okay, so
I don't.
thank
I
you,
don't.
Gwen. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for people who are young, like really young, I tell them you need to call me Miss Gwen because I'm old school like that. But the people that are similar age, Gwen is fine. So thank you so much, and God bless you. Hope to see you in October.
All right, thank you. Talk to you later.
Okay, good night.
Bye bye. Good night.